Is Elite Void viable in solo CMs? Recently, I put out a solo CM guide in which I stated, the barrier to entry isn't as high as you think. We put that to the test by doing a really scuffed Twisted Bow rebuild. You sold your entire bank to have this prized possession. Wait, you sold your entire bank? While we did get the job done, it wasn't pretty. That said, Elite Void is completely free, but outside of the range set, the armor is pretty dead content, unfortunately. Today, we find out if it's viable at all in Challenge Mode Chambers of Xeric. Before we can begin the raid, we have to sort out our inventory situation. Well, I slapped on the Elite Void range as that was ready to go sitting in my bank as I use it in the Theater of Blood quite often. But in terms of the Void Mage and Melee Helm, I had to go pull that out of the POH. And it's kind of funny because my Elite Void does have the ornament kit from one of the leagues. However, I never even bothered to put it on the Void Melee and Mage Helms respectively. I think I have the kits though. Let me slap that on real quick. This is the Shattered Relics League kit on the Melee helmet, which I'm a little indifferent to this one. I think the default Elite Void might actually look better, or just the Void. And then we have the Mage Helm. Let's go ahead and put that on. And you know what? I'm a big fan of this one. Again, it's just too bad we're not going to find many situations in which we would be using this, since we have Ancestral, Virtus, even Arums, many other options that are usually more times than not the better option than wearing Elite Void. Gearing up for something that I don't already have a pre-existing layout for usually takes a while, but this one was not so bad. I guess it's because for this, having Elite Void, really it's just a helmet switch and then your weaponry. So yeah, not too bad. And obviously everything else remains the same in terms of what we need for individual rooms, like the Burning Claws, the Ember Light, the Pickaxe, and then we have our spec weapons like the Zerite Crossbow. And obviously we need to be on the Arceus Spellbook for Book of the Dead and the Thralls. Well, I suppose without waiting any longer, let's go ahead and pre-pot and let's get started. Put away our Saturated Heart and Chugging Barrel, and let's get on in there. Make sure we're ready to spec, lure Tecton over, summon our Thralls. And let's begin. Obviously, the first hammer was guaranteed, and we managed to hit the second hammer as well. So defense reduction on Tecton is very good right now, and as a result, our scythe is absolutely slapping. Now, I didn't really prepare too much for this. I just slapped on the Elite Void and got in here. It would be good to do some damage calculations to find out whether or not I should put my scythe on accurate or aggressive. I know in the past, before the existence of Oath Plate, you would definitely want to put your scythe on accurate if you were wearing Torva. These days, it's probably most likely just sticking to the aggressive style. Although the thing about Void armor is that you're going to be less accurate. That's the thing. Elite Void, the big shtick with it all is that you're going to get really high max hits at the cost of accuracy. But feels like we were pretty accurate right there. That felt really good, actually. It probably wasn't like a quicker than usual Tecton. Actually, a 132 is probably on the slower side, but it felt pretty good. I guess I just have really low expectations going in, so, you know, anything that isn't outright terrible is, you know, it's like pleasantly surprised. Alright, let's work on Crab Room here. I'm going to be running through this raid just as I have thousands of times before, in the exact same way, a nice, consistent, chill way of doing the raid. We're not looking to get like a crazy fast time or anything like that, and in this setup, I don't believe we're going to have to take any extra precautions. We're just going to prep like how we normally do, which is an over prep more times than not anyways. and we'll just see how the raid feels. But that Tecton felt really nice, honestly. Alright, let's begin scavving here. Let's put on our mage helmet. One of the biggest struggles in this raid is definitely going to be our inventory management. I'm not used to the way the inventory is set up. We have much less switches, which, you know, at first you would think that's a good thing, right? You don't have to worry about as many switches, but it puts items in different slots, and it's just confusing to say the least. Okay, pretty good scav RNG right there. We have everything we need pretty much right away. I'm trying to keep my inventory organized here, and yeah, like I said, I'm already a little bit confused. But let's go ahead and put away the overload, the enhance, and the restore, in which actually I should have sipped, but not to worry, we'll just do that a little bit later. Let's go ahead and start chopping by picking up this axe over here. Yeah, just the little details are absolutely throwing me off. Typically, my inventory would be a lot more full, and as such, when I began scavving, I would need to drop the potions right next to the tinderbox here. But we didn't need to do that with all the space we had, and now everything is just out of order. I'm not wearing the things I want to be. Like, I'm still in my mage setup, but with an elder maw equipped, which makes absolutely no sense because I won't need the elder maw for anything here, so we're going to chop here, and then I'll try to get situated. Maybe do a little less kindling so I can buy myself more time to sort that out. I want to say we have pretty good chop RNG right now. We're about to get another full set of 28. There we go. Felt pretty speedy. Let's go ahead and put that in a second brazier. And then here we'll just chop as much as we can. Typically I get Ice Demon down to about 35% and then deposit. But let's go for 40% here, because like I said, I might need a little more time to figure out everything that's going on. So let's go ahead and deposit. We won't need the axe and tinderbox anymore. Let's go into our private storage here, withdraw everything, and you know what? I suppose this is a nice thing because our inventory is so open. I might not necessarily have to do too much rearranging here. I was about to Elder Maw spec, which is an old habit. Before Ice Demon was weak to Demon Bane, you would probably want to send a Hammer spec, but now we have the Burning Claws. I'm going to be using that. Okay, that was pretty good. Let's go switch into our range gear here. Make sure we have the helmet. And we're going to be doing shamans. I had to do a double take there in terms of what arrows I was using, because recently we were doing a very scuffed run, as we mentioned earlier, and I was using rune arrows instead of amethyst or even dragon arrows, so yeah, pretty interesting run we had with the rune arrows. It honestly wasn't too bad, but I think the biggest thing was the accuracy was terrible. It felt terrible anyways. But speaking about terrible accuracy, again with the void range, or just void in general, our accuracy is going to take a hit, as we hit a couple of zeros right there. Let's see if we can get this guy to jump. Will he cooperate? He will. Okay. Now we can just safe spot it. Obviously not time efficient, but hey, who cares? Let's try to rearrange our inventory here. We got our weapons not lined up with our proper switches, armor switches. It's a little strange. The thing is, we don't have a ring switch for each respective attack style, and that's not something we do on a regular run anyways, but the inventory is a little bit better organized when we have full switches. Right now, our switches are in like a 2x2 square, and I don't know, it just some things just don't line up. Anyways, let's begin prepping here. Nothing too exciting here, admittedly. I'm just gonna prep like how I always do. And that's 13 juice, 8 mushrooms. Go ahead and drop 4 of the vials right there, and that's exactly 21 vials, 13 juice, 8 mushrooms, 21 vials. My biggest concern with this Elite Void run right now isn't how much damage we're going to be doing. Instead, it's how much damage we're going to be receiving. Because Elite Void is pretty much made of paper. Obviously, when we're in Torva or Oathplate or Missouri, our defenses are much, much better. Let's go ahead and make our 8 restores now. But so far, so good. 8.5 minutes into this raid, and we're prepping right now. I'd say that's pretty in line with our regular runs, actually. I did note we had a slightly slower Tecton than we would have liked, or that we were accustomed to, but I mean, that was only by a couple of seconds, really. And obviously with a sample size of 1, hard to say if that was what we should be expecting in most runs in Elite Void or not, you know? It could have been lucky, it could have been unlucky. We don't know for sure. Now I'm actually 1 Buchu short here, so we're going to be prepping 12 brews instead of 13. We got very unlucky on the Buchu plants there, and I can't be bothered to replant just for 1 more Buchu. We should be more than okay though. But that leaves us with 1 vial and 1 juice in our inventory. We're just going to go ahead and drop that. We won't be needing that. Let's withdraw all, and wow, we have so much inventory space. The thing is, we don't need most of these items in our inventory right now. So let's go ahead and remove the pickaxe and the defender, and the elder maw and the emberlite, of course. And we should be good to go. It's kind of strange because wearing the Elite Void kind of eliminates, to a certain extent anyways, the issue that is inventory management in solo CMs and just CMs in general. Let's open up with a ZCB spec and then make sure not to reset that Vanguard, so we'll be focusing this one down. I gotta say, I am a big fan of the Elite Void aesthetic here with the Shattered Relics kit. Okay, the thing is, I have no idea what my max hits are, so hopefully we don't reset the Vanguards here. They are higher than what we would be used to, though, for sure. Because, again, the thing about Elite Void is they have a really high damage percentage. At least when it comes to range. And, yeah, I know for a fact that is a thing when it comes to the range Elite Void set. The mechanics to the armor may work a little differently for the other 2 styles. Did I reset that there? There's a chance I may have reset that there. No, we didn't. Okay, fantastic. Got away with 1 there. Didn't really know what I was doing there. Let's go ahead and use a Burning Claw spec, and then we'll Surge as well. And we also just ran the risk of resetting the Vanguards there as well. We're getting very fortunate here. Again, just the inventory, like, look, I'm spending more time looking at my inventory than I normally would, and not so much paying attention to the Vanguards and their health. Oh, you know what's throwing me off? I finally figured it out. We had the ring switch in the 2x2 set of switches. And so every time I swapped between mage and melee and then swapped in their range, the helmet would not be where I think it would be. So yeah, that was confusing me a little bit. Okay, we're absolutely fumbling through the Vanguard's room, really, but I mean, we're not dead. We're gonna get the job done here. Let me just sip that brew just in case it decided that it wanted to slap me there, but we're okay. I gotta say, I am pleasantly surprised right now. We're not hitting as many zeros as I would think. Into the dealing room where I guess we can recollect ourselves because not much goes on in this room. But we were definitely fumbling our way through Vanguards right there. Now, obviously, Void and Elite Void has been in the game for quite some time now, but I do hold out hope that they make Void more viable in some places. I suppose a more recent example is that Elite Void range is viable at the Duma Mocha over the traditional Missouri setup. But again, that's the range. I do hope there is a place for Melee and Mage Void. But just in about any content, if you have Ancestral, or the thing is, it's not even just Ancestral, even something as low tier as Arams, in which you can get very early in the game, it outclasses Mage Elite Void, unfortunately. Okay, in talking so much, we got way too many grubs. We don't need that many. And okay, now we withdraw our pickaxe and overload, enhance. Couple of restores. We'll get 3. And then a brew for safety. And let's head on over to Vaspula. Let's double check our quick prayers. We're good on that. We'll swap into our range first because we're going to be opening up with a ZCB spec. I meant to protect melee there, but didn't. As a result, we got punished. But imagine dying to a scav, right? That would be tragic. I would probably just delete this run, you know, if I did die to a scav. It would never see the light of day. In re-gearing up approaching Vaspula here, I've realized I made an oversight. Heading into Mystic's room down the line in this raid, we're not gonna have a salve, and I highly doubt our Elite Void setup is, for Mage anyways, is gonna be better than ranging. So yeah, Mystic room may end up being a little rough, because in a traditional setup, you can get away with not bringing a salve amulet if you're wearing absolute max mage. But in the event that you're not wearing max mage, you would want to bring a salve and just range the mystics. That's not something I thought about with the Elite Void. So yeah, it could potentially be a problem. But if anything, it'll just be a little bit slow, but we should be able to get through the room. Okay, that's Vaspula done with. We can actually go ahead and drop one of the overloads and enhances. We don't need that many. Let's stock up on some brews here. And we're going to be doing Tightrope the normal way. No skips or anything like that. Let's summon our Thrall. Now, I'm curious as to how much damage we're going to be taking from the Rangers, because the Rangers at Tightrope and CMs are notorious for doing an insane amount of damage. So let's just be careful here. And a tactic that I usually use to mitigate the Ranger damage is to swap into tankier gear when they're about to fire their arrows at us. But in this setup, I'm pretty sure it's all the same, right? I mean, the most we can do is like swap into our Inferno Cape, but like the difference there is next to nothing, really. We may end up going through a good amount of brews here. Let's go ahead and restore. Our stats a little low. And we are going to have to brew anytime we're below, I believe, like 43 health is the threshold we're specifically looking at. while we are taking a lot of damage, we're doing a lot of damage, so not too bad right there. Not bad at all. Let's go ahead and grab the Keystone Crystal. Cross back over. Let's swap into our melee setup here. Make sure we have the ring and everything on. Pickaxe equipped. That opens up an extra inventory space for us to get another brew. Or, yeah, probably another brew. Let's go ahead and do that. And then let's head on over to the next floor towards Guardians. Well, that wasn't very nice. We just got meleeed. Not much to the Guardian room either. Let's just take our time here and make sure we're doing the correct thing. And then following Guardian's room, we'll see if we can execute the Vasa teleport skip. I still don't have too many reps on that. By the time that was discovered and popularized and like it was common knowledge, I wasn't running as many solo CMs as I did in the past. Honestly, even in the current max gear setup, I don't have too many reps in that relative to back in the day when I was going for the Twisted Bow, using my Bofa, my Fang, Dragon Hunter Lance, and a Trident of the Swamp. The bulk of my solo CM runs and the bulk of my regular Chambers runs were in that type of setup. And on that note, you'll see that upon each completion of my CMs, I don't have a particularly good solo CM PB. And this is because I've never really gone out of my way to speedrun, and while I do understand some of the speedrunning concepts, it's just not something I ever got into. So there's always time for that in the future in terms of CM content. I could start learning how to speedrun this raid. Let's go ahead and use our ZCB here, and we're actually not overloaded right now. What are we doing? And our ZCB misses. That is absolutely tragic. And back into the range here. Oh, let's go ahead and eat. Let's not foolishly plank in Vasa. You shouldn't be planking anywhere in the solo CMs, but if there was a place you would rather be it at home, because that would be a little bit more understandable, right? I mean, that is the final boss fight of the raid. Dying any time before that just seems kind of foolish, to be honest. Alright, let's go ahead and keep moving. I'm going to sip the enhance and drop it just so I have inventory space to actually equip my bow again. And I touched on this earlier, but coming into Mystics, I'm actually not sure what I should do. I don't know if I should mage them or range them. Genuinely, no idea. I'm gonna try mage them, I suppose. Because that's what you would do without a salve. But again, we're not in Ancestral, we're in Elite Void. I was just about to say it doesn't feel too bad right now, and then we go ahead and hit 2 zeros. But there we go, a 49. Okay, okay. 27. Accuracy's not too bad. Okay, and I hit a 0. And another 0. Okay, maybe I'll just stop talking now, right? That's one mystic down. We spoke on potentially receiving a lot of damage in the Olm fight. Well, before that, we gotta make it past Muttadile room, which is coming up next. And that might be kind of scary. What's also a little scary is we're going through more prayer than I would think right now. I think our prayer bonuses are a little less than what we would otherwise have normally. Is that going to be a factor at Olm too? Should I adjust my brew to restore ratio going into the fight? A lot of questions and answers that we can only go and find out. We don't currently have them. Again, the mage hood looks so good with the set. I'm a big fan of that. Maybe we'll just start doing content of Elite Void Mage, you know? Just for the aesthetics. It's like, did you know you're actually like taking 50% more time because you're choosing to wear gear that is nowhere near as good as Ancestral? It's like, yes, but in the name of fashion. We're probably not going to end up doing that. Okay, please be humble, baby doll, and even mama doll. We do have a lot of brews on us. Getting pretty good chop RNG right now, I gotta say. Pretty quick tree chop, it feels like. Very quick. Oh, we don't have our mage's ring on. Let's go ahead and put that on. I know we do have 100% spec, but we're going to save that for the ZCB spec on the Muttadile. We're just going to get the job done here with the Shadow. Step under to take less damage. Do what we can. Really need that overload to regenerate our stats here. And there we go. Mentioned the ZCB. Let's go ahead and let that rip and brew up because we're just eating a lot of damage here. We're gonna have to re-overload. This is... Oh man, this is weird timing. Okay, we're gonna be taking a lot of damage here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and preemptively brew because we don't want to sit at like 30 health up against Muttadile. Okay. Not too bad, not too bad. And we're heading into Olm. Heading into Olm, I suppose I won't change anything. Although, actually, let me circle back to what I said about keeping my inventory in terms of brew to restore ratio the same. I mean, we're going to have extra inventory space. I keep forgetting that. We have so much inventory space in this particular setup. So we might as well bring in extra supplies than usual just because we have the space. Otherwise, it's just going to be empty space for absolutely no reason. Let's go ahead and take our time here, though. Let me make sure we withdraw the right things. I didn't actually mean to deposit all there. That was... I don't know why I did that. Now I'm taking extra time. I know I said to take my time, but we're wasting time now. Okay, we definitely want the Elder Maul. We want our ring. Thrall Book and Rune Pouch. Our extended stamina for sure. And you know what? Let's go ahead and bring the Surge Pod in because I know we're going to have the inventory space for that. Overload and Enhance, obviously. Typically, I bring 2 restores. I'm going to go ahead and bring 3 just because I noticed my prayer drain was a little higher than normal. And that leaves us with 7 full brews and actually 2 more inventory slots. In which I suppose we'll just take this 3-dose brew and I guess another restore. This is probably more than what we need, but We have the inventory space to afford all of this, so why not? Let's go ahead and brew up. We're not exactly full, we're at 91, but that's okay. And let's head in. Unfortunately, our hammer misses. I can't say I'm surprised about that, though. When you're using a shadow, there is a little bit of RNG involved as to how this Olm fight's gonna go. Because one particular direction, the direction we're facing now, we do have to tank a hit in the rotation. This is the 8-1 side. And because Olm spawned on this side first, this means on P3 we're also going to be getting this right here. And we're only going to get the damageless side once, that being the 12-0 side on P2. Whereas if you were using a 4-tick weapon, you're using the same strategy no matter what phase you're on, no matter what side Olm is on. The question here is, do I want a surge pot and then rehammer? I can't even see this portal. I could not see that portal. That is unfortunate. Let's go ahead and sip a stamina. Oop, messing up here. We've been doing various methods, different gear setups here at CM's, and it's honestly throwing me off just a little bit. Right there, I moved as if I was doing a 4-tick method, like with a whip or a scythe, or a whip or a lance, but obviously we have the scythe right now. Absolutely fumbling our way through this right now, but we're still alive. And to be honest, I'm not sure we've been in cycle once on the melee hand, but that's okay, I guess. Hopefully we do a better job on P2. Otherwise, our supply situation could look kind of grim. So we did that without a hammer landing, and we could have surge potted right there to try for a second hammer. But I guess by the time I thought about that, it was kind of already pretty late into the phase. This time around though, on P2, we do get the hammer to land. Very nice. And as long as we do this correctly, we do get a small break from Olm's damage because of the 12-0 shadow method. Unless we splash and the head doesn't turn where we need it to. Quite unfortunate. And we took quite a lot of damage from that too. And that attack right there was just on me. Another splash, quite unfortunate, and the thrall isn't helping either. We're going to be tanking a hit here. Luckily, we have the correct prayer, though. Yeah, this Ulm has been pretty scuffed. But our supplies are still okay. Let's see if we can get in this cycle. Think we should be now. I am going to have to brew right here, otherwise there's most definitely a chance. Ideally, we'd only be brewing every 15 seconds according to the overload timer. Okay, I just messed up there. But we absolutely do not want to be planked. Or chanced, I should say. So for example, right here, not ideal. Because our stats were already a little lowered, but we gotta do what we gotta do to stay alive. I gotta say, if you're looking to learn the sight and shadow methods, and you're trying to use this as an example, this is not the video, because we've been messing up quite a bit here. However, if you are interested in learning the actual methods, this is included near the end of my solo CM guide video. That video is more catered towards like the average gear setup, but I do go on to explain the methods with the sight and the shadow, and I am properly executing those strategies in that video. Obviously being a guide video, but right now, you know, one take, no cuts. We're live commentating and we're goofing around, I guess. Okay, on to P3 though. And actually, I suppose I might as well send the second hammer. So now that we're on P3, we gotta make sure not to reset the hands, because that would be tragic. Please be humble, Ohm. Okay, 19 off prey is pretty humble, all things considered. We're in the flow of things now. All it took was for me to stop talking for like 5 seconds. We're gonna go ahead and peel off of the mage hand now and begin working on the melee, as it's low health enough already. Our prayer situation was so low there that we couldn't even summon the thrall. That is a chance right there if we didn't brew. That would have been a hypothetical tick eat. We were sitting at 42 health, but I believe the max hit is a 43, and you wouldn't think it would hit max hit you for a 43, but when you're sitting right at 43, that definitely can happen. I can't tell you how many times that has happened to me, so now whenever that occurs, to the best of my ability, I try not to let that happen, and I just go ahead and brew anyways. That felt like a pretty good melee hand. Mage hand goes down, and let's transition over into ranging for a head phase. Now, since we have the Surge Potion in with us, I could have also brought the ZCB, and we definitely would have a ZCB spec available right now, but fortunately we don't. Oh my goodness, a 41. We're gonna miss some hits here, just to make sure we stay safe and brew up. and then we'll get back into rotation. This is definitely a slower Olm. Having to overload a third time, it seems absolutely crazy to me. Can't remember the last time I did that. With the weapons that we are using anyways. We're really feeling the lower accuracy right now. Couple of zeros with the twisted bow there. But it feels good when we hit a 92 just like that. I think with this specific gear setup, there is potential to see like a 100 if I was to be using dragon arrows. But currently we're using amethyst. Just because we're an Iron Man. Now it's not like I'm short, or it's not like I'm in short supply of dragon arrows right now. I do have like 25,000 or so, or somewhere in that vicinity. We finished the raid at 39 minutes and 1 second. A deathless raid, we get some snapdragon seeds and 3,100 silver ore. A deathless raid, 62.5k points. It honestly went pretty well. A slow Olm 1240, but we'll take it.